We're all here. Except for Tony. Right? Yes, okay. So Courtney, Tony Obringer is the only board member not present. Next. The minutes from the November 3rd meeting were sent out shortly after the last meeting. Does anybody have any additions, deletions, corrections, or questions on those minutes?
I've got correction. I was here.
Oh. Dan Barry is here, yes. Dan, I think you
Came in a
little bit late,
Late,
right?
yeah.
So she had our, yep.
I was tardy.
All right, we will correct that. You were present. Any other correction? All right, then they will stand approved as submitted with that one correction. Payroll warrants. Since our last meeting, we have had 2 payrolls. Thanks, John. For making sure that our employees got paid. You can see the breakdown on the subsequent 2 pages. Is there any discussion on payroll warrants?
Didn't see you yet.
If not, I will entertain a motion.
I saw moved.
Got a motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Courtney, can you see who's making the motions, or Katie, whoever's gonna be doing these minutes?
Do I have to visually see them? I can hear them.
No, as long as you know who they are.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, invoice, vouchers, and claim payments. The month of November.
I motion to approve them.
I have a motion to approve the AP vouchers. For a second, All right, have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Financial statement. Because there is a lag in getting the RCAP funds, I believe that is why we are still showing we've received about 78% of expected revenues for the year.
Motion to approve.
No, you're seconding.
Seconding, sorry.
Yeah. All right, so. Motion by John, second by Mary Ann. Any discussion? None. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? All right, year-to-date revenue covered, financial statement here showing our cash on hand as of November 28th was $709,712. Oh, I'm sorry, we're on the year-to-date revenue.
Motion to accept the report.
Okay, thank you. All right, motion and a second to accept the year-to-date revenue report. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. And we have the balance by fund or financial statement at the end. Which, as I alluded to earlier, shows us having a balance of $709,000. Any discussion on this? Okay. Is there a motion?
I motion to accept the report.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Update on building, I will say that MKM and Byron are working on their updated formula based on anticipated changes in Medicaid reimbursement starting in 2024, when the state goes to manage Medicaid. And they should hopefully be having a report to show what blend of our residents would qualify most likely for Medicaid and which would qualify for a supported, more of a low income housing, but still with a medical need or some type of need for some of those wraparound services. Obviously, a lot of this funding mechanism will be dictated by what the state reimburses for different things. We're hoping to get that report either by the end of this month or very beginning of January, to then begin sharing that with our newly elected council and commissioners. That is the only update I have on that. I believe we are now at administrators. Oh, is there any new business? See none. Administrators report.
Hello, it's Courtney. So moving forward, the next couple of months, I have Tiffany Foltz, my director of nursing, here with me. And then on Zoom is also Katie, my business office manager. Both of them will start attending these meetings. So I would like to report that for Thanksgiving, we had a full and complete donation of all needed turkeys for the facility. So we did not have to take that out of payroll not payroll, but accounts payable. And also we were able to cultivate a relationship with a church that we did not have a relationship with before. So they donated, I think it was 16 or 17 turkeys total. So we had a really nice Thanksgiving dinner. We have multiple events planned for the holidays coming up. Friends of Portage Manor is going to be donating gift cards to the residents. We've also had some holiday cards that were donated for all of the leadership team to sign for the residents. We're going to do a hot chocolate night. NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, is going to be coming in and doing, I believe it's going to be snacks and cookies for them one day this month. So we're really trying to work with a lot of our local organizations to come in and provide events for the residents. And so we got NAMI, we have the Northern Indiana Rehab Hospital. They are also going to be coming in. So moving for, everybody knows I'm on maternity leave, and I will still be attending these meetings via Zoom, and I can still be reached via email. And I think that's pretty much what's been going on over here. Our current census is 107 right now. We do have 2 planned move outs this week, but that's all that is anticipated.
Okay, fantastic. Well, and I know several of the board members here have some stuff to drop off as well.
Yeah, Courtney, when do you need those by? The donations for the stocking stuffers?
Oh, I'm sitting here with Tiffany. She says probably sometime next week, because so we can start preparing the stockings. We're gonna wrap gifts and put gifts in stockings. So if we get them by next week, we can start doing that.
Do you need wrapping paper as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Courtney, then, or Tiffany and Katie, since you're on here, I'll be swinging by Monday to drop off these cards that the board has signed. And I have some stocking stuffers that they brought, a few of the board members brought to this meeting. I'll drop those off Monday as well.
Thank you.
Courtney, this is Mike Crook. You said our population right now is at 107. And did you say that 2 more are planning on moving out?
Yes, we have 2 planned move outs. Actually, both of them are tomorrow.
Okay, so then we'll be down to 105 then,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Are we getting referrals and admissions? Like, when's the last time we had a new admission?
Last month was our last admission that we have. We are getting referrals. All honesty, the acuity is too high for our current staffing model for a lot of these individuals.
I would also mention that we do have a couple nursing positions open. We have not been able to hire anyone for the last 6 months, despite the fact that we've had them posted. We've had hosted job fairs and have been in communications with other, or like within the industry. We're just not getting the applications for the nursing staff. We had an agency contract, and our staff to patient ratio was not what they were comfortable with. So we are hopefully looking for another one, but.
Frank, this is Chuck Leone. Frank, do you think that has to do with the salary level we're offering, or what's the issue with not getting applicants? For Courtney?
Courtney, do you have insight on that?
I do have a little bit of insight. I don't know if the board members are aware. I am a registered nurse by trade. And this is my opinion, Portage Manor is not even in the same ballpark from a salary standpoint as many other healthcare facilities. I would also like to point out, because I did go through the budget book for this coming year. For example, you could be an office nurse at the health department and not have to actually do a lot of the patient care that we have to do. And you could work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and you can make $60,000 as a nurse at the health department. Whereas a nurse at Portage Manor, the salary right now is right around $48,000. And we can be mandated. We can't go home if there isn't staff. We can't shut the office down. And so we're at 48, and they can go to the health department and make 60. That's a pretty big number. And then, when you start adding in the outside facilities, Memorial at this point, you can make up to $60 an hour as a nurse. So we're not even getting the applicants.
Even with our QMAs, a brand new QMA, I've been to the school legacy.
Tiffany, could you speak closer?
Oh, yeah. So even with the brand new QMAs, I've been to the school, talking with the instructor over at Legacy Training Center. And the QMAs coming out are making $23 to $25 an hour, brand new. And our rate is at $21.46.
And that could be a QMA that's been a QMA for 20 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, the council's the only one who's.
The council's the only one that's gonna be able to do that.
Yep.
So we're gonna bring it up to them?
We certainly can talk about it with council.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really at this point, like this board doesn't have any authority to
No.
raise salaries or anything, so.
So we're-
Tiffany, do you have an idea of, like, do you have a plan? Or could you come up with a plan of if we raised, and maybe Deb can help with this, but if we were able to raise the salaries to attract the staff, could that at all be offset by being able to bring in more residents if the acuity level could match that new staffing level?
Yes, because definitely, some of our referrals we've had to turn down because we just don't have the staff to provide care for them. For instance, we only have 2 CNAs Monday through Friday. And right now, some of our residents need CNA care 24/7. So with some of the referrals we had to turn down because we don't have the staff to provide the care. If we had the staff, we would be able to start taking those referrals that need more of the hands-on care. So if we would raise the salary or the wages, I could start back at some of the training schools and get some of the newer CNAs and newer QMAs over here.
Okay, I guess we would just need to know what that amount then would be. So are we saying we need to raise the salary $5 an hour, $7 an hour? Like, what is it that we need to be able to attract the staffing that we need?
We will definitely research. We will do job search, wage analysis with different communities like ours, assisted living, and with the skilled, just so we can be competitive.
Okay, I do believe that Deb from Byron already did a wage analysis
Okay.
not that long ago, so with a lot of that work already done, it probably needs to be tweaked a little bit, but at least it's a starting point for you.
Okay, I will get that information from Deb.
If we had another nurse, what would be the additional capacity to have?
I know nursing is a big component, but it's really, is it the QMAs, the people who pass meds, that's really the barrier here for some of that stuff, because our nurses are having to work as Qs, right?
Yes, it's both. It's nurses and QMAs. Both myself and Tony, we've been working the floor a lot. It's definitely both. We need a third nurse in the building, and our wages don't compare to other facilities for nursing. That's why I believe we haven't gotten a third nurse. So we are actually doing several jobs. We're working the floor, which is QMA, and we're doing the job of really 4 nurses, especially with our acuity of care for our residents.
A related question. Are there any one-time incentives that we might be able to use, like a signing bonus that?
I'm
might-
gonna answer that one for her. Essentially, we don't do incentive bonuses through government.
Okay.
It's not a common practice, but what I can speak to, I've done their payroll on and off for quite some time. I'm pretty familiar with how it's moving about. You're looking at overtime in the building is approximately between 2,000 to 2,500 per pay period every 2 weeks. Most of this is assumed through the nursing staff, be it nurses, QMAs, everything. It's essentially, we're supporting an entire other salary at a rather decent pay rate, just in overtime. We're paying time and a half for a substantial, more than full-time amount of hours on a regular basis. And they have done a lot of work to reduce this down from almost double. And so essentially, $2,000 to $2,500 worth of overtime is all we can get down to with the current staffing levels without violating a regulation. So the money is there and the hours availability are there to have somebody in there. And that would also be what we would present to the council if we were to go for salary increases, is that we would reduce our overtime line item considerably if we could fill some of these positions.
Right, thank you, John.
What I think, John, what you'd have to weigh in as well, then if you decide to do something like that, is if you pick up an additional employee or the additional benefits that brings versus the overtime, it's a limit.
There's a couple of different things that we can do. QMAs, we could actually create a number of part-time positions and not take on the burden of most of our benefits.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon for us, correct me if I'm wrong, Courtney and Tiffany, we have on a lot of on-call throughout the years of QMAs that come and fill in shifts when necessary. That gives us the perk of having the staff, but not paying out the ancillary benefits. So there are multiple options we can explore.
Good discussion, everyone. And Courtney, I assume that Katie and Tiffany have been told that like all these problems should be solved in 2 months by the time you get back, right?
Pretty much, I've really been pushing a lot of this off.
No pressure.
Yeah, I know, Courtney, Tiffany and Katie, we really appreciate you stepping up over the next, well, I mean, have been ever since, coming on board, but especially over the next few weeks while Courtney's on leave.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I have a question about that as well. So Courtney, how much time are you planning on taking off then? Just 2 months?
8 to 12 weeks. I
8
won't even be cleared for 2 months.
No, that's fine then. So in your absence, will we have a licensed person there every day then to run the operation?
I am still working from home every single day. And then we have split the departments between Katie and Tiffany. And also Deb Lambert is physically going to be in the building every week.
Mike, we did something similar when Jessica Clark took her maternity leave several years ago. They aren't technically on leave, they just work from home because we can't not have a county engineer. So with that professional licensing, she's still able to respond to
She's a critical
emails.
That's what I wanted to be sure of. So working from home will fulfill the requirement of us having to have a licensed administrator, even though they're not in the building, they're not physically in the building.
She's still in the county, so if
And able to respond if necessary.
Yes, I'm still able to physically come in the building if needed. It's just not going to be part of my routine day.
No, and I get that. I was under the impression, I guess, from previous discussions we had when we were going through the whole rehiring process, that there had to be someone physically in that building every day. And apparently that's
I
not
think they have to
exactly the
be
case.
available to be at the building every day. So they have to be in the county local enough. They can't like leave. And if Courtney were to say, I'm going to take my maternity leave and I'm going to do it in Florida, then we couldn't use her license because she couldn't come in and respond.
So it has to be in the county.
Or, yeah,
My question though is if we get, say we get that overtime down and have a position, et cetera. How much more of a capacity, is that gonna, are we gonna get, how many more people available?
That's a lot of math to do in my head, but we could have better
You know
numbers
what I'm
for you.
saying? About,
Mhm.
because we're turning down referrals now. How is it possible to increase with staff?
and I think that would depend on what staff we hire. If there are a lot of if we are able to staff up queues and get a couple more nursing, then then we don't need our nursing staff to be passing meds and they can focus on, I think, some residents that have higher acuity levels.
I'll work with Tiffany and we'll do that comparison off of a couple.
I don't know what the new county commissioners.
Yeah.
You know, who the hell
And
knows, right?
also 4 of the 9 council seats will be occupied by somebody new come January 1st. So there are a lot of new decision makers at the county and we will be working to bring them all up to speed. And when we get the report back from NKM and Byron later this month or the beginning of January, they'll at least have some updated and information to make their decisions. All right. Any other further
Yeah, I was under the impression that something like this thing would have been-
Do any of those have to go or are they on?
Yeah, few of them.
All right, if there is nothing else, we will move on then to privilege of the floor. If anybody, there's no one in the room, I will note. So if anybody on Zoom would like to speak, you have 3 minutes, just raise your hand. Mr. Sines.
Hey, Frank, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, very good. Roy Sines, 426 South Mead Street. First of all, this is a very good discussion. I appreciate it regarding staffing issues and what that means to Portage Manor. And obviously the quick math I did at $50 a day, 300 days at 20 residents is roughly about 300,000. Although I understand that that will still not bring us to the break even in our current situation, which brings up my point of, as stakeholders, the FSSA is going through their waiver pay increases for 2023 because it's a budget year. And how can we get it out to stakeholders that we need to reach out to legislators for the budget to increase the waiver pays for 2023. The second thing it seems like is that there is a dilution of resources that addresses community in our community. And I'm wondering what this board can do to help coordinate with commissioners, counselors, City of South Bend, other municipalities, so that we're not diluting resources, but also help to maximize the resources. And then the last thing would be, we need to get the word out about what Portage Manor does. Has this board or would this board consider partnering with, say, IUSB and their MSW or marketing department to offer some sort of internship where we could get basically, unpaid skilled labor to help our cause? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there comment from anybody else? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we stand in adjournment. Everybody have a good holiday season and hopefully we'll be seeing a lot of you at the various holiday events we're having at Portage Manor.
Thank you.
Thank you.